So, what is the difference between a standard pie and mash versus an award-winning pie and mash? Well, today I'm going to find out because I'm going to be trying both to see who's best. So let's start off first with the standard pie and mash. So I decided to go to a place called The Merchant because this is your regular nationwide pub/bar chain. They're part of a big group that has many locations nationwide, with this one selling pub grub at affordable prices, a bit like a Wetherspoons. It's a pretty eye-catching place with the name in huge letters above the doors. Let's head in and check it out. This is a really large space in here. It feels open and spacious. You have the big TVs showing the major sporting events with ample seating throughout. That even extends around the corner. The menu is pretty comprehensive with a lot of food on offer, from small plates to burger and drink deals, and also pub classics, which is where I'll be ordering from today. And the meal I'm going for is the steak and ale pie with a soft drink deal. I got a glass of Coke with ice and lime to get warmed up before the meal, and I think I'm ready. So here it is, the steak and ale pie. It's presented on a long plate with the pie in the middle, and I think this looks like a good meal. Let's have a closer look at what you get. So from left to right, you get a big portion of mashed potato, although you can offer chips if you want that instead. You get a jug of gravy, which I can't wait to pour over everything, so I'll for sure be doing that shortly. You get the steak and ale pie, which looks really good actually. I like the golden brown colour of it. And you get a portion of mixed vegetables on the side. So there you have it. Let's dig in. I'm going to start off with the mash and try everything on its own first, just to get a sense of the flavours, and then pour over the gravy. This is a decent looking mash with a goldeny yellowy colour. Let's see how it tastes. It's an okay mash. It's really thick and dense. There's a slight buttery flavour. I think this is the heaviest mash I've ever eaten, so I don't know if I'll be able to finish it. Let's move on. I'm going to try out the veg next. It's your standard mix of various veg cut into small pieces. Let's eat it. What can I say? I think we've all got a bag of these at home in the freezer. They're your regular easy boil veg mix. Right, I think it's time for the pie, and I like the look of this one. It's a good size, the colour of it is great, the lid of it is already coming away, giving you a peek at the filling inside. In fact, I think that's exactly what I'm going to do first. Let's take off the lid and check out the filling. And there it is, the steak and ale filling. You can see the pieces of the steak in there. You can see the thick ale gravy too. I'm actually looking forward to trying this. I've cut off a little piece. I've got some of the steak. I've got some of the pastry. Let's give it a taste. That's really nice. The pastry is a short crust one, so it crumbles away as you bite into it. You get a buttery flavour. There's a slight flavour of the ale, and you get the beefy steak too. I think the lid of this pie is just asking for me to take a bite out of it. You've got that great golden glaze to the top. It's actually a bit thicker than I thought it was. Let's take a bite of it. Here it goes. That's pretty good. It's a different pastry to the bottom of the pie. So this is more of a puff pastry. It's more flaky and lighter. I don't think I've had a pie before where the top is different to the bottom. What a unique idea. I want to try out just the filling on its own. I've got a piece of the steak. It's covered in the ale gravy. Let's go for it. Really nice. You get quite a few pieces of the steak in here. They have a good bite to them and a nice meaty chew. The flavour of the beef and ale work together really well. I think it's time to pour on the gravy. That's not what I was expecting. What is that? This is the thinnest gravy I've ever seen in my life. In fact, can you even call this gravy? Comment below what you think. So let's try out the mash with the gravy. The gravy is so thin it just runs off the mash, so you're not getting any of the gravy flavour at all. How about if we dip some of the pie directly into the gravy? That doesn't really help. I think the gravy at this place needs to be improved a little. It's way too thin and runny and needs to be thickened up so you can get the gravy to coat the mash. Let's go for a combo bite to round off the meal. I've got the mash, the veg, the steak and both pastries from the top and bottom of the pie. Let's try it out. Really good. I think this was a decent meal apart from the gravy. The other items combined well together. The pie was interesting, having two different types of pastry from the top and bottom, which I've never seen before, and the filling was tasty. The mash and veg were pretty standard though. So that was an okay meal in there. A little bit of mixed emotions as I enjoyed the pie, but the gravy was a little bit disappointing. So the total cost of that meal was £10.29. Let's move on next to the award-winning pie place. So the award-winning pie shop I'm heading to is called Pieminster. Now you might have heard of them before, as they're a nationwide pie mash chain with many locations around the country. This one is in a pretty imposing colour scheme of solid black with the big words pie and mash to leave no doubt as to what they serve in there. So let's head in and check it out. The inside is pretty rustic with the metal and wooden frame booths in the middle, surrounded by normal tables and chairs. The black colour scheme continues on the inside but feels open due to the large windows and open ceiling design with the exposed beams and lights. The menu is a good size with some delicious sounding pies that make your mouth water just reading the descriptions. You have really good value lunch and meal deals too, which is what I'll be going for today. I'm going to get the pie and two sides meal right there. Plus the usual glass of Coke that actually comes in a bottle. You don't normally get this in most places, so it's a nice surprise when you do. And here it is, the pie and two sides meal. How good does that look? Let me tell you exactly what I got in this meal. I got a steak and ale pie, which has some black things on top, so not totally sure what they are. We'll have to taste them and see. Mashed potato, which is presented under the pie, and that's an interesting way to do it, but it still looks really good. Minty mushy peas, which comes in a pot on the side, and some gravy, which comes in this fancy looking silver jug. I can't wait to taste this, so let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to start off with the mash, and again try everything on its own first just to get a sense of the flavours and then add the gravy. The mash has got a great golden colour. Let's see how it tastes. That's really good. It's soft and fluffy, you get the flavour of the potato, and it's nice and buttery too. A good mashed potato. Let's try out the minty mushy peas next. This one looks like it's mashed pretty well as you can't see many whole peas. Let's give it a try. I like it. The texture is soft and there's not too much of a bite as the peas have been mashed well. The pea flavour is subtle and the mint just adds a bit of freshness, which I think you need if you're having heavy flavoursome food. I think it's time to try out the pie. And what a great looking one this is too. It's got a really nice golden brown colour to the crust. It's a good size too, so not too big or too small. You can tell by the crust it's a short crust one. Let's cut into it and see the filling. What a great filling that looks to be. You can see the pieces of steak, there's some carrot in there too. Let's eat it. I've cut off a little piece here, I've got a bit of the crust, I've got a bit of the steak, and ale sauce too. Let's go in for a bite of this. Delicious. The pastry crumbles and melts away as you bite into it. You get the flavour of the steak and ale, and I think the black things on top are actually caramelised onions, as they add a bit of a crispy charred sweetness. Let's try out just the pastry on its own. I've got a piece of it here. The oven cooked golden brown to it is great. Let's eat it. Really tasty. The pastry of a pie is just a comforting bite of food. You have the crumbly, crisp texture of the outside, the soft texture of the inside, and combined with the buttery taste of it, it's fantastic. In fact, I think they do the same thing with the top of the pie here as the first place, with it being a different pastry. It looks like it's a flaky phyllo pastry. Either way, it's delicious. I want to try out just the filling on its own next. I've got a piece of the steak, it's covered in the ale sauce. Let's try it out. Really nice. The beefy flavour comes through in the steak. You get the flavour of the ale too, which is subtle. The carrot adds a bit of sweetness to counteract the salty sauce inside. It's a good filling. I think it's time we add on the gravy. It looks to be a thick one, and after the first place I think I prefer it thicker rather than thinner. This one barely even runs down the pie. Let's try it out. I'm going to go in for the mash with gravy first, as it always works well together. I've got a bit here. Let's eat it. Delicious. And how about the minty mushy peas and gravy? I didn't manage to pour any of it on, but I still have a bit left in the jug, so let's dip it. That works really well together. What about the pie with the gravy? Well, let's find out, as I have a bit right here covered in the gravy. Delicious. And now for the combo bite. I've got everything on the plate: the pie, the filling, the mash, the peas, and the gravy. Let's go for it. That's amazing. The flavours combine so well together, with the beefy steak, the sweetness of the carrots, the buttery pastry, the creamy mash, and the mint in the mushy peas really freshens the bite, leaving you ready for more pie. This has got to be up there as one of the tastiest pie and mash meals I've ever had. I enjoyed everything on the plate. Maybe I should come back and try out their other pies. What a great meal that was. The pie in particular was delicious. So the total cost of that meal was £15.95. So which was the better pie and mash? Comment down below which one you preferred. For me, the award-winning place takes it. They were better in every area. The pie, the mash, the peas, and the gravy. Okay, if you want to see more pie and mash videos, click on the thumbs up icon below and click on subscribe to come along for the next food journey, and I'll see you in the next one.